Welcome to Bears Royal Guys. Please support me by subscribing and getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Behind closed doors at Halas Hall, the veteran inner circle just held an emergency meeting, and what slipped out of that room should terrify every offense in the NFC North. We aren't talking about typical rookie hazing or standard preseason trash talk. This is a full-blown locker room panic over a 309-pound undrafted wrecking ball who is actively tearing up the depth chart and threatening multi-million-dollar contracts. Jaden Loving isn't waiting his turn, he isn't respecting the veteran hierarchy, and during live padded drills, he is single-handedly embarrassing starting interior linemen who thought their spots were safe. The tape doesn't lie. The leaked sentiment is pure desperation. And right now, Chicago's front office is facing a massive political nightmare. Do you muzzle an unhinged rookie to keep the peace, or do you unleash absolute chaos on Sundays? The mood inside the facility had shifted from the casual optimism of early August to a tense, suffocating quiet. When the coaches exited the defensive meeting rooms and the heavy double doors clicked shut, the veterans did not head for the cold tubs or the dining hall as they usually did. Instead, the team's starting core, men with 8-figure contracts, Pro Bowl nods, and years of earned tenure in the league, gathered in a tight, closed-door huddle away from the rookie side of the locker room. The whispers were urgent, hushed and laced with genuine frustration. In the National Football League, veterans expect a predictable rhythm to training camp. Rookies are supposed to wait in line, absorb the playbook, carry the pads, and take their lumps against the starting unit during team periods. That hierarchy is the unwritten law of professional football, protecting both the egos and the financial livelihood of the guys who have paid their dues. But inside Halas Hall, that established order was currently being pulverized into fine dust, and the traditional locker room dynamic was fast approaching a breaking point. The source of the friction was not a high-priced first-round pick with media hype and a massive signing bonus. It was Jaden Loving, an undrafted free agent out of Wake Forest who walked into camp with zero fanfare and immediately began playing as if every single snap was a life-or-death scenario. When the pads finally came on for full contact practices, the entire tone of camp transformed overnight. While established starters were taking calculated reps, working on technique, and pacing their bodies for the long 17-game grind ahead, Loving was firing off the ball with an unhinged, violent intensity that caught everyone off guard. He did not care about practice etiquette, he did not care about unwritten veteran courtesy, and he certainly did not care about the name on the back of the jersey across from him. During line of scrimmage drills, where offensive and defensive linemen usually engage in controlled physical work, Loving was treating every rep like the final play of the Super Bowl, driving veteran guards backward into the quarterback's lap and collapsing protection schemes before the play could even develop. By the middle of the second week of padded practices, the disruption to the starting rotation was impossible to ignore. Linebackers were complaining that their sight lines were being ruined because Loving was blowing up interior double teams, driving guards straight into the second level and clogging up the running lanes. Quarterbacks were being forced off their spots during non-contact team periods because Loving's initial step quickness was bringing him into the backfield way ahead of schedule. The coaching staff had designed the installation period to evaluate the starting offensive line's chemistry, but that evaluation was completely derailed because the interior starters could not handle Loving's relentless motor. What started as minor sideline muttering quickly escalated into real concern among the veteran group. Starting linemen who had entered camp expecting smooth, predictable progression were suddenly finding themselves on the wrong end of highlight reels captured by beat reporters standing on the sidelines. The catalyst for the emergency meeting came during a high-stakes red zone team period late in Tuesday's practice. With the first team offense facing the starting defense in a live goal line simulation, Loving was subbed in for a single third down rep. Rather than occupying space or taking on a double team to let the linebackers make the play, Loving executed a violent swim move, discarded a multi-year starting guard within 1 second of the snap, and wrapped up the running back 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It was an explosive display of raw power and quickness, but inside the locker room, it was seen as an outright act of defiance against the established order. The veteran offensive guard stepped off the field visibly shaken and furious, while the starting defensive line realized that this was no longer just an impressive rookie showing off. Loving's unrelenting playstyle was directly disrupting the chemistry, the rotation, and the structural authority of the veteran unit, setting off an internal alarm that threatened to divide the locker room long before the regular season even kicked off. Word of the closed-door confrontation leaked almost immediately, spreading through local beats and insider circles like wildfire. The Chicago Bears' veteran front wasn't just annoyed by an eager rookie, they were genuinely rattled. The transcript breakdown of that meeting reveals a level of internal panic rare for an NFL locker room. Veterans, men holding multi-million-dollar contracts and playing for their next extensions, were caught off guard by the sheer hostility Jaden Loving brought to every single practice snap. To them, Loving isn't acting like a rookie, trying to earn a roster spot. He is operating like a wrecking ball, targeting their livelihoods. The leaked sentiment centered around one horrifying realization. A 6'1", 309-pound undrafted rookie out of Wake Forest is playing with an unhinged, violent aggression that ignores every traditional code of NFL practice etiquette. Veteran interior linemen expected a controlled ramp-up period, a mutual understanding that preseason reps are for building baseline conditioning and fine-tuning technique without destroying teammates' bodies. Loving discarded that code entirely. Every time he snapped his chin strap, he treated the line of scrimmage like a high-stakes survival drill, relentlessly tearing into veteran guards who thought their starting roles and contract year stats were completely bulletproof. What makes the leaked audio so explosive is the raw panic over financial and professional survival. In the NFL, contract incentives, snap count bonuses, and upcoming free agency negotiations rely entirely on controlling starting reps and maintaining performance tape. When an undrafted player starts blowing up internal protection schemes, collapsing pockets during non-contact team periods, and throwing multi-year starters to the turf in 11-on-11s, it destabilizes the team's entire financial food chain. Veteran linemen were overheard expressing genuine concern that Loving's unhinged energy would not only lead to practice field injuries, but would actively force the front office to reconsider their starting depth chart before week 1. They were used to rookie free agents showing deference, taking corrections quietly, pacing themselves against the first team, and slowly absorbing the playbook behind the scenes. Loving, however, showed zero interest in taking a backseat, refusing to treat high-earning veterans with any special care or unearned respect. This dynamic completely shattered the classic NFL veteran-rookie relationship. Traditionally, a rookie defensive lineman is expected to absorb the blows, take his lumps against established starters, and earn his stripes through quiet persistence and physical deference. If a veteran tells a rookie to tone down the contact in practice, the rookie complies out of survival and respect for locker room hierarchy. Loving completely inverted that power structure. When confronted on the field after blowing through a double team, he didn't apologize or pull back on the next rep. He lined up with even greater intensity, treating every play as a direct challenge to his right to be on the roster. His refusal to back down during team drills created an incredibly volatile environment where every single snap turned into a physical ego match. The veteran group found themselves trapped in a lose-lose situation. If they complained too loudly to the coaching staff, they looked terrified of an undrafted rookie. If they stayed silent, Loving continued to physically dominate them in front of the entire team and front office, putting their starting spots directly in the crosshairs. When you queue up the All-22 film from Wake Forest and cross-reference it with raw practice tape out of Halas Hall, the anxiety spreading through Chicago's veteran room makes total technical sense. Jaden Loving isn't winning rep after rep because of lucky bounces or blown assignments. He is systematically destroying protection schemes with elite, unteachable traits that translate directly to the highest level. Standing 6'1" and weighing a dense, low center of gravity, 309 pounds, Loving possesses natural leverage advantage before the ball is even snapped. Because he is shorter than traditional interior defenders, he naturally gets beneath the pads of taller, longer-limbed NFL guards who rely on upright extension to control the pocket. On tape, his explosive first-step quickness allows him to fire off the ball with immediate forward lean, putting interior linemen on their heels within a fraction of a second. At Wake Forest, he routinely used this initial burst to disrupt play designs in the backfield, and on the Bears practice field, that rapid acceleration is giving veteran guards zero time to set their anchor or establish proper hand placement. The real terror on the film, however, is Loving's violent, relentless upper body technique paired with a high motor that never turns off. His signature swim move isn't just fast, it's delivered with a heavy clubbing force that violently snaps the hands of opposing linemen off his chest frame. In 11-on-11 practice sessions, veteran guards trying to mirror his pass rush are finding themselves completely off balance, caught in a state of physical recovery from the moment the ball is snapped. If a lineman attempts to play him high to counter his quickness, Loving instantly transitions into a punishing bull rush, driving his 309-pound frame directly through the guard's chest and collapsing the front of the pocket straight into the quarterback's footwork lane. The victims on the tape aren't second stringers or camp bodies. They are multi-year starters who usually dictate terms in the trenches, now getting physically overwhelmed, turned sideways, and pushed into the backfield during live 11-on-11 work. This technical tape breakdown explains why the veteran group is genuinely shaken rather than just annoyed by a loud rookie. In modern NFL line play, veterans rely on subtle pacing, leveraging body angles, and manipulating rules to save energy while executing their assignments. Loving plays with complete disregard for that pacing, bringing an unhinged, high-intensity motor to every single rep, regardless of whether it's an individual warm-up or a fully padded team period. The film proves that his college production was no fluke. His leverage, quickness, and violent hand combat are breaking the precise science of the Bears' offensive line protection calls. When established starters watch the film in the meeting room, they aren't looking at a raw prospect who needs 2 years in an NFL strength program. They are looking at a finished, explosive interior disruptor who is actively exposing their physical limitations in front of the entire coaching staff. The mounting tension inside Halas Hall places the coaching staff directly at an explosive tactical and political crossroad. Head coach Matt Eberflus has built his organizational philosophy on a strict meritocratic foundation, a culture where total effort, bold disruption, and relentless hustle dictate who earns reps, regardless of where a player was selected on draft day. By every measurable metric of Eberflus's famous grading system, Jaden Loving is grading out as an absolute force on the interior defensive line. He is generating pressure rates that outperform every other tackle in camp, winning single matchups and destroying run plays before they can develop. From a purely football-driven perspective, the choice is simple. You start the player who gives your front four the highest level of violence and execution, period. But the reality of managing an NFL locker room is rarely that black and white, and the staff knows that elevating an undrafted rookie over heavily invested veterans threatens to ignite an internal firestorm that could consume the defensive unit. The dilemma for the coaching staff isn't just about scheme fit. It's about navigating high-stakes roster politics and protecting the fragile social structure of an elite locker room. On one side of the whiteboard, you have multi-million-dollar veteran contracts, guaranteed cap figures, and established leadership voices who command the respect of the entire locker room. Benching or reducing the snap counts of highly paid starters in favor of a 309-pound rookie UDFA sends a shockwave through the building. It communicates to the veteran core that past production, financial standing, and locker room status mean nothing if an unheralded newcomer out-hustles them during hot August practices. If the coaches suppress Loving's snaps simply to keep the peace, they risk undermining their own core message of open competition, effectively telling the rest of the roster that performance takes a backseat to contract size. As cutdown day and week one approach, the front office and coaching staff are forced to confront a decision with zero middle ground. Do you intentionally limit an unhinged rookie's reps to preserve veteran relationships, maintain positional hierarchy, and keep harmony inside the locker room? Or do you make the ruthless choice to unleash Loving's chaotic, disruptive style on Sundays, benching high-earning starters and dealing with whatever locker room fallout occurs? The choice will define Chicago's defensive identity for the entire season. By backing the veteran establishment, the Bears prioritize stability at the expense of upside. By trusting the tape and unleashing Loving, they signal a complete culture shift, one where raw talent and unyielding intensity override every dollar sign and draft status in the building. When the lights turn on for week one and real regular season football begins, this internal war won't stay buried inside the walls of Halas Hall. It will spill directly onto the field in front of 60,000 screaming fans. The prediction for how this internal friction manifests during real game action isn't a subtle shift, it is an explosive collision of locker room politics and raw on-field utility. When the Bears faced their first 3rd and long of the opening quarter, the coaching staff will have no choice but to field their best pass rush unit. If the staff succumbs to veteran pressure and leaves Jaden Loving on the sideline to protect hurt feelings and cap numbers, every missed pressure and clean pocket allowed will feel like an indictment of the coaching staff's resolve. But the second Loving checks into the game, the psychological war escalates. Established starters will be watching from the sideline, hyper-analyzing every single step he takes. If he detonates the pocket and sacks the quarterback on his very first series, the dynamic officially shifts forever. The veteran core will realize that their leverage has completely evaporated, while the rest of the defense will naturally gravitate toward the unheralded rookie who delivers immediate, undeniable production. This friction will manifest in a high-stakes psychological split across the entire roster. Offenses around the league will quickly spot the internal dynamic on tape and attempt to test Chicago's interior discipline. Veteran teammates caught between maintaining their traditional seniority and winning football games will be forced to adapt on the fly. You will see it in the subtle interactions after big plays, whether the established defensive line leaders rush to celebrate with Loving when he blows up a play-action pass, or if they walk back to the huddle in cold, tight-lipped isolation. But out on the field, production is the ultimate equalizer in professional sports. If Loving continues to play with the same unhinged, violent motor that rattled Halas Hall during August practices, the initial resentment will inevitably turn into reluctant acceptance. You cannot argue with the 309-pound disruptor who is single-handedly freeing up edge rushers by drawing double teams and resetting the line of scrimmage in the backfield. The final verdict on this internal locker room war is clear. Far from fracturing the roster, this conflict will forge one of the most ruthless, terrifying defensive fronts in the NFC North. Tension inside a professional football building is only toxic when it stems from laziness or apathy. When it is birthed from an undrafted rookie pushing established stars beyond their comfort zones, it breeds an elite, highly competitive environment. Loving's arrival has effectively stripped away any lingering complacency within Chicago's veteran front. The starters can no longer cruise through reps or rely on past reputation. They are being forced to match the unhinged intensity of a hungry UDFA who is actively trying to take their jobs. By refusing to back down and forcing the coaching staff to play the absolute best 11 players, Jaden Loving isn't breaking the locker room. He is raising the floor of the entire defense. The NFC North is about to discover that Chicago hasn't just managed an internal crisis. They have forged a terrifying interior monster that will dominate the trenches for years to come.